Yo, yo. Live. Should be. So I plan on re-uploading this maybe. So I'm just gonna get right in. Alright. Let's see. Check here. Alright, let me turn this down. Think to here. Let's go. Hopefully it's down. Let me... Why isn't this refreshing? What are we doing? Yeah. There we go. Alright. Fuck. Okay, cool. Alright, let me just turn it up just a little bit. There we go. Sick. What is this? Select stream. Refresh. This is the one I want. There we go. Sick. Alright. Until someone says something, I'm just gonna start mixing. Okay, cool. I think we're good. Also, my poor little computer is burning up right now. Anyways, we are mixing this song. Let me do full screen. Entire screen. Let's go, baby. There we go. All right. Yeah, this is mix number 2. I haven't sent out mix 1 yet. I usually don't unless I feel really confident. Current bitrate is lower. What does that mean? This is what happened last time and I fixed it. But anyways, I'm going to mix. Sorry, let me fix this real quick. Is lower than the recommended. What is the recommended? Your stream bitrate of 135. The stream's current bitrate is... We recommend that you stream. Okay, cool. But anyways, I got some like notes on my end that I need to fix. And yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. There's some things that I heard in the car specifically. If I hit okay. That I need to change, I think. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Is this actually what it's supposed to be? Okay, did it change now? So yeah, there's some, I gotta turn up the vocals for sure. And I need to, what's it called? And yeah, I need to change the vocal or turn up the vocals. I need to take some mid-range out of the bass because it's taking up vocal shit. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure my stream is still clear. And then I need to make the kick drum a little bit more punchier. It's kind of hard with this because it's a loop, unfortunately. And there weren't any samples sent over. So we need to figure out how to make that more punchy. A little bit more sub bass, which we'll be using, what's it called? Leslie Brathwaite's new plugin that he collaborated with Safari Pedals. And then what else did I hear? I think that was pretty much it. I mean, I felt pretty good about it, the balance and stuff. A lot of low mids. Not a lot, but a little bit where I want to kind of address it. So yeah. So anyways, this is a second mix. Like I said, I haven't sent out the first one. Didn't feel too good about it when I listened to it in the car. You can see there's a lot going on. This mix is pretty much done. I would say it's like 80% there. And then here's my rough. So here's, let's see. Let's do this. So here is the original rough, right? This is my mix. Also, if you're tuning in, let me know if the stream is too low. Till someone says something, I won't change it. And then this is rough. So definitely the rough is like way more mono. Not a whole lot of use of the stereo field, basically. Definitely more mid-range in the rough, and I think that's because it's very limited, as you can see, compared to mine, which is also making it sound, can make it sound a little bit louder just because our ears are more tuned, or not tuned, are more, you know, sensitive to mid-range, so it could sound a little bit louder. So I think with mine, there's definitely more clarity or anything, or everything with that. So I'm going to try to still keep that clarity. But like I said, there was a few things that I was hearing, especially comparing to the rough stuff that I was, not the rough, comparing to ref mixes that I like a lot and that I feel pretty good about, whether it's from listening to them in AirPods or the car. Yeah, there's just some things that I want to address on my mix that I was just like, okay, cool. I can definitely make my mix a little bit more punchier from what I was hearing and for what I'm personally going for. And a little bit more sub, which like I said, we're gonna try to use that new Safari pedals plugin, and what's it called? And then taking a little bit more mid-range or upper mid-range that is in the bass sound itself, because I like that it's loud, but it is taking a lot of room up of the vocals, and the vocals they're sitting where I want them to sit, but they're not poking through the mix where I want it, at least from what I can hear. And like I said, I'm used to my car, and I know when a mix sounds really good, and the vocals were almost there. That's the best way to put it. They're almost there. But I think with fixing these 3 notes, I think hopefully we'll get it a lot closer to where I feel comfortable sending this mix out today. But yeah, so I think let's start with addressing the mid-range in the bass. So, let me go. Let me do a new track. This is going to be, oops. We're going to go, new. What am I doing? New. I'm gonna call this mix 2. Okay, let me see. All right, so let's listen to this bass real quick. So it's pretty much like this. So it's like, it's very like present, I guess, but I don't know. It's still covering up a lot of where the vocals should live, and I think that will help with bringing more clarity to the vocals, essentially. But yeah, let's see. me share the screen because it's like the way I'm streaming, I did application capture and it's annoying. Let's just do window. We're gonna do Pro Tools mix window. Let's see, show full screen and hidden window applications, I guess. Because I know there's a mode. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, there's like a mode where you can't see my fucking plugins. It used to not do this, but with the new update it did. Let's just do display then. There we go. All right. And then now, hopefully when I do this, there we go. Okay, sick. Let's do that. And then since I'm like pretty much, usually when I'm baked into a mix like this, like I said, I'm just doing notes right now. These are my personal notes. I haven't sent them out to the artist yet. This is just stuff that I was hearing. Since I want to turn up all the vocals, I can just come to this all vocal bus that I have. I can just literally just turn it up right here. So, oops, wrong side. There we go. And then with that, I don't really have to worry about overloading the mix because the way that I've been mixing the past like 2 months is that I've been mixing the vocals into the mix bus, specifically the Manly. I really like what it's doing. I watched somebody else mix like this and I watched somebody else do it. And I also think Tom Elmhurst uses this and mixes this way in a similar way. So I kind of took some inspiration from that. And I've been liking it a lot because it allows me to kind of, what's it called? Like set myself up how do I say it? Like, not like a ceiling, but it's kind of like a safety net, but it's a very nice sounding safety net, if that makes sense. As you can see, I'm usually using the API 2500, but I kind of go back and forth. And I don't know, I like the Varimu right now. I'm not gonna lie, the past couple months I've been using it a lot. Been trying to compare it, and this, I don't know, it doesn't sound better. It just sounds, you know, it's just something like I'm not used to this sound yet, and I like it because I think I was kind of getting tired of the API. And this has more of like I don't know, there's like some sort of like roll off kind of thing that it does, I guess, if that makes sense. Not like in the sense of like rolling off frequencies, but it feels like it's like this almost. I don't know how to explain. I don't even know if that makes sense. But that's just like the way I hear it. But whatever, it sounds good. Okay, and then I don't know, whatever you're listening on by the time you see this video. The drums sound punchy in headphones, but on speakers and stuff, it's punchy, but not as punchy as it should be. And like I was saying earlier at the beginning of the stream, it's a drum loop, unfortunately, so I don't really have that much control. So what I did, I think I put like a little poke. Yeah, I put a poke at the kick drum. And to be honest, I'm just gonna add more. I mean, that's like really the only solution that I can do right now. So let's compare it to my mix, my original mix. So you can definitely hear the kick drum obviously is poking through now. We added like 2-3 more dB. The vocals are about, I don't know, 3 or 4 more dB louder. And it's already cutting through. So this is the original mix. And then the current mix. So let's see what's going on with. I don't even know where I want to put it. It might not even make sense because I'm just so baked into it. Let's see. Full machine. We're gonna try it. Let's try it. I'm such an idiot. I was like, why am I not hearing anything? I was like, am I stupid? There we go. I don't know. It's not the plugin itself. It's me trying to add this when I feel like this is definitely something you need to obviously use to shape or get the sound out of it that you want and that you know that it's capable of doing. I think me just trying to add it is not going to work. So I think also because I'm baked into this, I'm just gonna add low end on the mix bus. Usually this is my go-to EQ. I only added 1 dB, I think, and I usually add 3, and I think it needs the 3. From the speakers I was listening on and in my car, I think it needs 3. Because I'm really just looking for that sub, that 40 hertz. You know, I feel like 40, obviously not every speaker or headphone is going to definitely be able to reproduce it for the most part. But I do feel like it is something that you can feel, if that makes sense. I don't know. I always like 40 hertz and below. I think 45 and up, that's when you start hearing it. And especially 45 starts creeping into 60, and that can make things like mushy, especially competing, depending on the song, depending on the track too. I feel like sometimes that can compete with the kick drum a little bit. So this is without the EQ. I'll play it. Pretty boring, pretty flat. Vocals are buried. Drums are not present. And that's another thing too that I was hearing is that the vocals overall were a little dull, a little bit, not dull in the sense of like they sounded super dull, but dull where like I didn't want to, I didn't feel okay with it basically. So let's also add some top end to the vocals overall. Like I said, since we're so baked into this mix already, we're just gonna add it on the all vocal buzz. Start here. There we go. And then also with me adding the top end, it made the vocals sound more louder. Wait, why is this? Hold up. Wasn't this just at 10K? Or am I tripping? Edit. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
From all the strong out static, yeah, I'm out of touch. Losing the signal and the blood rushing through my veins. Sold online to the radio waves. Romeo was a liar. To play, you gotta pay your attention. I'm starting to break away. I'm gonna dance till I love. I cry again. There we go.
So now the vocals are cutting through for sure. Kind of want these effects to go up a little bit too. Oh. I like that. Fuck with that, fuck with that. How do we feel about this part? Let's add some standard clip. Oh, I haven't even added anything yet. What are you listening to when you set your clipper? For me, pretty much I am, because I was gonna make a comment on it because I was like, this is like a good way to a good opportunity to say like not to see what is visually going on, because I especially with the standard clip, I feel like it looks like it's doing more than what it is, because what I'm looking for, and usually what you're looking for with clipping in general, especially obviously if you're using it in this way before the limiter, so your limiter doesn't work as hard, because me going into this mix for these notes, knowing that I needed to make the kick drum a little bit more punchier, what I'm looking for is to make sure that I'm still maintaining the punchiness, I guess, of the drums, but without, you know, no pun intended, but clipping them, you know what I'm saying? So making sure that the standard clipper, even though it looks like it's doing a lot, I'm just listening to make sure it's not actually doing more than what I want it to do. And then obviously, you know, the most common thing would be to allow your limiter, you know, squeeze a little bit more juice out of your limiter. It's not doing as much as it would if I didn't have the clipper set, basically. So yeah, long or short answer is that basically I'm just looking to make sure that my drums and my bass aren't being smashed, and just don't disappear, especially with clipping too. It can add a little bit distortion, whether it's pleasing or not, because that's what a lot of like the plugins that are based off of like converters and stuff, there is sometimes a desirable sound, especially with something like the gold clipper or whatever. There is like a certain distortion that it does to the low end that has become like a little bit more popular these days. For me, like when I listen to like a lot of a lot of like new Drake stuff, and I'm sure it's intentional because I don't know if they would release it like that, but a lot of the bottom end in his songs is there's a slight bit of distortion that I hear, and obviously that has to do with most likely the mastering engineer and them trying to get as much juice out of it. But that's what I noticed. I think it's like kind of like a trend without saying it, if that makes sense, because I like I said, I'm noticing a lot of songs have a little bit more crunch on the bottom end, which this is a way you can do it if you want to distort your bottom end a little bit, but not in a way where it's not noticeable, where it's like, hey, your bottom end's distorted. It's like actually it kind of works for the song. This is a way to do it if you're going for that sound. But all in all, yeah, just listening to make sure that my drums don't disappear, my bottom end doesn't disappear, but it's doing just enough where I can get a little bit more juice out of my limiter. And yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. Hopefully that answers your question. So my original mix is right here. Sounds fine. And then this is my new mix with the notes. So you can hear, definitely we achieved the vocals getting louder. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I over-explain a little bit, but I just want to make sure that, you know, giving out all the stuff that hopefully makes sense. I'm not just giving you like a short answer and like, oh, I just do it because, you know, I don't want my drums to disappear. Try to put a little bit more detail behind it when I try to explain things to people. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. But anyways, it sounds like we definitely achieved the louder vocals. They're crispier than what they were. I'm going to listen into my AirPods after I bounce this. And then the drums, hopefully a little bit more punchier. Like I said, we only have so much control over it because it is a drum loop, unfortunately. So there's only so much I can do with that. And I've made enough room for the drums to poke out as much as I wanted to, because I still want the bass to stand out. Because I think that the bass is driving the song. Obviously the drums are too, like rhythmically, but I think the bass is definitely driving the song, just because it's a little bouncy, if that makes sense. And then obviously the vocals are always going to be important, especially with a song like this. So yeah, I mean, you know, saying that, you can see there's a lot of automation going on, especially on the vocals and stuff, just trying to make them pop and stand out or whatever. So, rough mix, my first mix, and the current mix. So current mix, compared to the rough. So another thing I want to point out, because I posted this on my Instagram story, so if y'all aren't following my Instagram, you know what I'm saying, go ahead. Got it right here in the background. I know it's a little laggy. I don't know if it's actually laggy on the stream. But another thing that I pointed out is that, so I know for sure this has to be like an Ozone assistant master or whatever. If you don't know what that is, basically, you know, the Ozone, which is this plugin. I have an older version by now, which is kind of crazy to say because they're already like 2 or 3 versions up. But there's an assistant master, as you can see right here. And basically what it does, you play the loudest part of your song and it tries to its best to master it. And sometimes it can sound pleasing. I still think with the Ozone Master, it can be helpful to use it and it can sound good, but I still think that it heavily, just like with humans, it's going to heavily rely on your mix. If your mix is not good and you're not feeding the Ozone Assistant the right amount of frequencies, energy, whatever, then Ozone Assistant is not going to do its job correctly, and it's just going to master a bad mix, just like you know, humans or whatever. So I definitely know. Let's see. Are you summing your tracks or mixing fully? I didn't see you change much comparing to the previous mix. I like that. Yeah. So I am. I didn't see you Wait. I see you kind of didn't change much comparing to, yeah. So definitely no summing here. I'm all in the box. I did do a little bit early on and stuff, but I'm like fully in the box now. So yeah, all in the box. And then, yeah, I didn't change anything. So basically the mix I was comparing it to was, the first one was the rough, which is what was sent to me from the artist and producer. The first mix was the mix that I finished yesterday. Took it to the car, listened to AirPods, stuff like that. And there were some notes that I had, and I haven't sent it out to the artist yet. So I always, obviously, with every mix, you know, you want to try to get it as close as possible to done before you send it. So basically, there were some things that I was hearing in those places, and I'm addressing them here with this new mix, which is mix 2. Which for me personally, what I was hearing comparing to songs that I feel like are in the same world as this, or, you know, just mixes in general that I like, and not even have to be pop songs. I felt like my drums could be a little bit more punchier, which, like I was saying with the loop, it's kind of hard to achieve that. So there's only so much I can do, but I think I did make them punchier than the original mix. The vocals are a little bit louder. They're a little bit more crispier for this style of song, I think. And then what was the other thing? Oh, and then I took some mid-range out of the actual bass itself because it's like a bass synth. So obviously it's playing some low end, and then those high notes. I feel like we're not making room for the vocals. So yeah, very subtle changes, but changes that I feel like make a huge difference at the same time. So those are like really the main things I was hearing. And then, are you mastering while mixing? I do master. I guess I do, in a sense. I like to, basically what I do, just like real quick, is that I just get a balance. I have a lot of videos on my channel going over my, you know, style or whatever, I guess, or what I try to do. But yeah, basically try to get a mix done without using any plugins, no bus, anything on the bus or whatever. Once I get my balance and I feel pretty good about it, then I throw on the bus compressor, which, like I was saying earlier, I've been using the Manly Varymu a lot, mixing into that. And then the Mog will come on, the Studer will come on. These 3 will pretty much come on. This is kind of like my overall sound that I go for. And I just throw them on. That's it. Because I don't touch any of the settings or anything like that. These are kind of just things that I've picked up over the years and stuff from other people. And that's pretty much it. And then I get as far as I need to, or I can. And then the Oxford, you know, just blend it into taste. And then, like you just saw earlier, I just threw on the standard clipper because I wasn't getting enough juice out of the Ozone. And then once I feel like the mix is like 90% there, then I throw in the equalizer. Stereo image is always 3. And then maximizer, it's pretty much default. The only thing I changed is I added 0.5 dB of whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess in a way, up to a certain point, I am mixing as I master or whatever. Or yeah, mixing into my master, I guess. Because generally, I personally do, with the budgets and stuff that I work with, I mostly end up mastering it anyway. So I just trying my best to like learn how to do it as I go, and I've been doing it for the last couple years. And I've also, worked with big mastering engineers and stuff, but sometimes that can be a pain because I don't know. It's a whole thing. Yeah. Sometimes they're not the ones that end up mastering. It's usually like their assistants or whatever, and all this stuff. And it's just like, I'm trying to convince the artist to work with these mastering engineers and stuff and get in the habit of that. But it's like if they're not even mastering it, then what's the point? So I try to master my own thing. Try and be on my Mike Dean stuff. That's what he does. So I'm trying to do that. But anyways, hopefully that answers everything. But now that we're on the mastering topic, like I was saying earlier, even though this was like, I definitely can tell this was mastered with like an Ozone assistant, is that you can see how smashed it is. And we pull up the meter. It's pretty smashed. Really not that much dynamics. And then if we compare it to like the mix I did yesterday, you can see that it's not as smashed in most part, like overall. Like obviously when it gets to louder parts, it's a little bricked up, but not the whole thing is not smashed or whatever. But then if we check the meters, we're pretty much just as loud as the rough was, except it's like way more dynamic. So you can see my meters like aren't smashed or whatever. I don't know. It's something that I posted on my Instagram story yesterday, and I got a lot of responses on it, and good feedback and stuff. So I just thought it was interesting just to kind of show you how, mastering with Ozone and stuff or like programs like that is useful, and it can be useful. But at the end of the day, if you're going to feed those kind of things a not so good mix or the frequencies that it needs or the balance that it needs, you're just going to end up with a limit, or you're going to end up with I don't know. I don't want to say crappy, but I'm saying like not a so good mastered mix. So I don't know. I just feel like because I always see a lot of those things where it's like they make it look so easy and they advertise it, that it's super quick and it sounds good and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, it does. But at the end of the day, I just think that we're still not there with the, you still need like a human, up to a certain extent to mix it, because yeah, I mean, they're always going to add a vibe to it and stuff like that. And, just can't rely on the auto mixing yet, I guess. I feel like we're still far away from that, or hopefully we never get there. I don't know, because a lot of jobs would be lost. Let's see. So that's the rough mix. You can see in here that it's super crunchy. And that's mine, current one. So like another way that I'm able to achieve, because like the big thing that I'm hearing personally, is that the rough mix is very like narrow, obviously super squashed, not taking use of the stereo field. And then when we come to mine, it feels like it gets wider. You can hear the elements, like each element has its own space and separation or whatever. And a good way that I'm able to achieve that, because I guess this is kind of like, it's not actually summing, but in the box kind of summing, because they all get summed down to these VCAs, and then this comes down to my master. But on each of these buses, I have all bus, all drums, all percussion, so on. I'm individually treating those elements different. And the big thing for me is, what's it called, when it comes to synths. If I had strings, this would also apply to here. But with the synths and guitars, I like to use this SPL mastering compressor. I don't use it for the compression. Literally the only thing I'm using it for is the stereo width knob. I feel like the SPL Iron and just plugin Alliance in general. I feel like I know they were also like the pioneers of stereo with kind of things. So that obviously they're gonna do a good job with this, and SPL is probably not gonna put their name on it if it doesn't sound good. So I like to use the stereo with a little bit different. So here it's like 200% on guitars. I think it's like 120 or 150, yeah. And then strings I think is 120. So it's like as these elements get brought down to these buses, specifically when it comes to synths and guitars and strings, because I want those. Usually those things are spatial things. I try to separate them from the rest of the elements in the song, and that's how I'm able to achieve, essentially a wider mix without having to rely on. Because I know a lot of people rely on just adding width to the mix in general, which I do too. I think for mix bus stuff, I think Ozone does the best from what I can hear. It's not a whole lot. It's 3. I think anything past that, it starts to sound a little washy. And then the problem with stereo widening plugins that I hear a lot is that sometimes they take away from your panning. For instance, there was something that like Andrew Sheps was using, and I started using it, and then at some point I kind of realized that, which is another good point of why maybe you shouldn't use exactly what your favorite engineers use, because what works for them may not work for you, and what they're hearing may not work for you either. And if you hear something different, then it's like, why continue to use that if it's like a problem for you. So basically he was using this plugin, and then when I used it and I used the same width settings, I noticed that my panning collapsed and it kind of came back in. Like the song itself got spread out a little bit, but the elements, I think it was like guitars or percussion or something, got brought in. And I don't know it's definitely because of the plugin. I don't know what the plugin was doing, but it definitely got wider, but some elements weirdly got brought in. And obviously that's going to be, I don't know, there's something going on with that plugin or whatever. And it could have been the song. Like I said, it has nothing to do with that specific plugin or that plugin company, or him recommending it or whatever. Not recommending, but him using it and then me wanting to try it out. It just didn't work out for me. So I feel like, but with the Ozone one, I don't know, it didn't do that, and I can just continue to use it. Let's see. If you were to send your song to mastering, would you remove? So there was a few. So I worked with Sterling Sound. They didn't care about mix bus stuff. Because I worked with what's his name? He does like all the 21 Savage and all that stuff. Younger guy. I can't remember his name. But he's like one of the bigger guys there. And his team recommended, or they wanted everything on. However, the mix sounded, they wanted exactly on, which is totally fine with me. The only thing is they just wanted me to take the gain off of the limiter, and then that's about it. And then this other mastering engineer, who I won't say their name, but I worked with them, and they wanted everything on the mix bus besides the limiter. And then there was one more mastering house that's pretty big that I used, and they didn't want anything on the master bus at all. And I would say Sterling Sound was definitely the more what's it called, like the master came back and it sounded like my mix, just a little bit louder. And you can tell they did like their own little thing on it, but not enough for me to be like, oh, this doesn't sound like my mix anymore. But out of all the experience, I mean, they were all great. It's just in general, just like trying to work at that level. I feel like if you're not at their level, they don't really give a fuck about you, unfortunately. Not to say it's them personally, but it just could be the companies themselves, which totally makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. Some weird stuff going on there with that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm an advocate if you can take the time and really like learn to master as you go. I feel like it's a good skill to have. Because up to a certain point, I'm sure they all you'll eventually work with them, and it'll be a different level. And what's it called? Like, I don't know. It's just it was just not for me, basically. And I was just like, all right, I'm not gonna waste my time, and I'm not gonna waste like the artist's time and have them spend all this money for them. Because there was like a couple songs that I got back just in general. This wasn't like just a one time. This was like over a couple years. I just feel like they just made the songs louder. And once I realized that, and I was just like, all right, either um you're not doing the thing that you're supposed to do, which also I didn't have an expectation. I wasn't going to be like, "Oh my god, my mix is going to sound way better now. The song's going to sound way better." It was just like it's just nice to know that somebody that only masters all day is going to be able to do a really good job and make the song sound good. Um, and that's what I was getting back essentially. So it's just like, all right, maybe I should just try to learn how to master, which I'm still learning and I'm still trying to get better at it and stuff. And so far so good. Haven't heard any complaints and whatever. So I'm just gonna keep going. There's a few artists that I work with where they have their own mastering guys, which is better for me because then I feel like it's a little bit more freedom with me mixing. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully it makes sense. I know it's a lot of rambling. And then what was it? So all right, so we got drums, got the bass fixed, I think. Vocals are louder, vocals are crispier. I think that's really it. And I turned up the effect throws and stuff that I wanted, as you can see right here. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. That was like all the notes I had. It wasn't really a lot. I just thought I would just stream it live, just to see what everybody's on this Thursday.
Try to keep up. I'm running on the latest breakdown download. Now I'm part of the club. Hey, you're part of the club. And tonight I'm gonna find the one who stays. Oh my gosh, this is my perfect man. He lives inside the screen. I bang hard as I cat. Kidding, I'm the plan, forgot who the fuck I am. I'm gonna dance till I love. Disconnect from all the strung out static. Yeah, I'm out of touch. Losing the signal of the blood rushing through my veins. Sold online to the radio waves. Romeo is a liar. To play, you gotta pay your attention. I'm starting to break away. I'm gonna dance till I learn how to cry.
All right, so there's like a something funky going on right there. I think this like little sound effect sweep has got like some sub added to it. I think it's distorting a little bit, or maybe it's I think it's just a combination of that and the drums hitting at the same time. So we're just gonna turn it down. Let's do 2 dB.
I'm starting to break away. I'm gonna dance till
definitely watch this playback. Gotta record. Oh, for sure. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this live, and then I might even download it and kind of chop it up, and then just put it together and upload it on my normal channel. Unless this one, sometimes my lives do well anyway. So, but yeah, I appreciate it. If you go watch it later, I appreciate that. Tuning in, I appreciate it. Yeah, not too much today, just like some mix notes that I personally had for myself before I send this off, that I needed to fix. But yeah, thank you. Oh, first crash of the day. All right, one more listen through, and I'm gonna listen to it low.
part of the club. inside the screen. I bang hard as I cat. Can numb the feeling, forgot who the fuck I am. I'm gonna dance till I learn how to cry.
Oh, brother. Let's see.
I'm gonna dance till I learn how to cry again. Feel the beat in my chest to remind me I'm human. I'm gonna dance till I learn how to cry again. It's all a part of a modern romance. Pulling the plug, disconnect from all the strung out static. Yeah, I'm out of touch, losing the signal of the blood rushing through my veins. Sold online to the radio waves. Romeo was a liar. To play, you gotta pay your attention. I'm starting to break away. I'm gonna dance till I learn how to cry again. Feel the beat in my chest to remind me I'm human. I'm gonna dance till I learn how to cry again. It's all a part of a modern romance. It's all a part of a I found myself under the lens through it. This hell I've ever left, never gonna let me go again. No, I'm gonna dance till I learn how to cry again. Feel the beat in my chest to remind me I'm human. I'm gonna dance till I learn how to cry again. It's all a part of a modern romance.
All right. I think we're ready to print. I'm gonna listen in my AirPods once I print, but we should be good. I think it definitely sounds way, not way better than my original mix, but the things that I feel like it was lacking, I feel like it has now. So one last time.
How to cry again. Feel the beat in my chest to remind me I'm human. I'm gonna dance till I learn how to cry again.
Yeah. All right. Let's wait till that stops, and we're gonna print.
I'm running on the latest breakdown download. Now I'm part of the club. Hey, you're part of the club. And tonight I'm praying I find the one who stays. Oh my God, is my perfect man. He lives inside the screen. I bang hard as I cat. Can numb the feeling, forgot who the fuck I am.
Mute this.
Dance till I learn how to cry again.
Oh, it's not gonna stop mine. But if I do that, it will. All right. I don't want to get too burnt out. What was I gonna say? Did you see the new SSL interface that got dropped today? I think it looks pretty sick. I feel like SSL does very well with their aesthetic. Uh, I don't know. Look, it looks really good. I think it's funny how what's it called? How the company like SSL. I think Audient did one, and there's another one that I'm missing. They made who's the company that makes like the Evo interface or something? Anyways, they came out with like expander units. So basically, you buy the interface. It's usually it seems like they're doing like 8 channel ins, 8 channel outs, and then you can buy an expander which just adds inputs and outputs, which has always been a thing for companies. Uh, but I just think it's funny because I remember when Avid did this. Uh, they came out with the Carbon, which is what I have, or the Matrix, and then like a year later they started selling the expander units, and then people were shitting on them for doing it. But then like now SSL did it with their new unit. Audient did it like a year ago, and then before that, I can't remember the company. The company that makes that Evo interface. But yeah, I just think it's funny. Uh, and everyone's like, their minds are blown because of that. I just think it's interesting. Just people like to shit on Avid. Just fine. Sorry if you're just tuning in. I just muted it. I know it's muted. Because I don't want to blow my ears out because I have more notes to do on a different song that I can't stream. And plus I want to listen to this song on my AirPods off stream. And then yeah. But if you tuned in, I appreciate it. If you are here, looks like at one point there were 16 people here at one time, which is crazy. That's like the most I've ever seen. And then yeah, I'm gonna end the stream after this once I bounce this. But like I said, I appreciate everybody pulling up. Uh, appreciate people in chat. Hopefully you got something out of this. Like, share, subscribe. Might re-upload this on my channel like tomorrow as a mixing video. And then yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm gonna end stream. I appreciate it. Anybody that pulled up. Uh Maybe I'll stream again tomorrow or in a couple days. We'll see. Peace.